One NFL player hit someone so hard they almost got a concussion. Another guy walked off the field in the middle of a game. These are some moments of bad sportsmanship in the NFL. First up, we've got the intense showdown between Talib and Michael Crabtree back in 2017. So these two players with roots tracing back to Dallas, Texas, had some serious history. Talib didn't hold back, pointing out that Crabtree's trash talk fueled the rivalry. Now, in this particular game, Talib straight up grabbed Crabtree's chain in 2017. Yep, you heard that right. Talib didn't stop at just snatching the chain. He wanted to add insult to injury. But the chain broke for the second time unexpectedly. Talib had it in his grip, ready for more drama, but Crabtree's relentless blocking game made him rethink his plan. Both of these guys faced suspensions for their antics. This feud wasn't just on the field though, it spilled over into some off-field drama too. Speaking of on-purpose attacks, this next one was just straight up aggressive. Amari Cooper's helmet incident. Now let's rewind the clock to 2015, a year when things got seriously bizarre between Cincinnati Bengals cornerback Adam "Pac-Man" Jones and the Raiders' Amari Cooper. This already intense game took a wild turn. Jones, fueled by frustration, decided to play a game of helmet head with Cooper. Yeah, you heard that right. He straight up ripped off Cooper's helmet and forced the poor guy's head into it. Surprisingly, Jones dodged an ejection from the game, but the referees weren't letting him off the hook that easily. They hit him with a personal foul penalty for his terrible actions. And here's the kicker. Jones ended up with a hefty $35,000 fine for his little stint of bad sportsmanship. Next up, we've got the sneaky move by the New York Giants in 2011. It was a showdown between the Giants and the St. Louis Rams, and the Rams were revving up for a lightning-fast, no-huddle offense. But guess what? The Giants weren't about to let them have it that easy. Out of the blue, two Giant players, Deion Grant and Jaquin Williams, pulled off a mysterious move. They both hit the deck pretending to be injured. Sneaky, right? Well, the NFL wasn't having any of it. They swiftly shot out a memo to all 32 teams waving the caution flag. What was the memo, you ask? Potential fines, suspensions, and brace yourself, the loss of valuable draft picks if players were caught faking injuries during a game. Yikes indeed. Now this next moment is all about Tom Brady's intense hatred for losing. We all know Brady is one of the most competitive folks in the game, and that's a big part of why he's a legend in football. But every now and then, that competitive fire gets a bit too sizzling, and you can see the flames on the field. There was the time when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost a game, and Brady, well, he didn't take it lightly. He straight up stormed out of a press conference. Talk about feeling the heat. Then there's the 2021 game against the New Orleans Saints, where Brady faced something he hadn't in 15 years, a shutout. There's even a viral video capturing Brady in a heated argument with Saints defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, and to let off steam, he hurled a tablet. Yep, he went there. Later on, he spilled the beans about his emotional moment on his podcast. But hey, this isn't the first time we've seen Brady's temper in action. After a few losses, he's shown moments of not-so-great sportsmanship, like skipping the handshake with opponents. It just goes to show, even the greatest athletes have their share of frustration and anger. Speaking of moments of frustration, this next one was pretty bad. Marcus Peters' major outburst during a 2017 game against the New York Jets. Now, the Chiefs, once riding high as Super Bowl contenders, hit a rough patch with a brutal losing streak, including 6 losses in 7 games. Ouch! Peters' eruption was like a volcano ready to blow after a late-game holding penalty hurt his team, paving the way for the Jets to score a 2-point conversion. That was the breaking point. Peters didn't just express his frustration with some grumbles or foot stomps. Oh no, he took it to the next level, grabbing the penalty flag and flinging it into the crowd in a fit of anger. And just when you thought things couldn't get more bizarre, he vanished for a bit, only to return without his socks pulled up. Yeah, you read that right. It's one of those moments that leaves you scratching your head wondering what on earth just happened on that field. Now let's talk about Antonio Brown's tantrum. In a 2022 game against the New York Jets, things got messy. Tampa Bay Buccaneers receiver Antonio Brown, usually making headlines for his incredible plays, caused quite a stir. During the third quarter, Brown went into full meltdown mode, stripping off his uniform, shoulder pads, undershirt, and gloves. Yep, you heard that right. He even tossed his undershirt and gloves into the stands before making a swift exit from the field. But here's where it gets interesting. Before his dramatic departure, Brown managed to catch 3 passes for 26 yards from none other than quarterback Tom Brady. Now the big question remains, why? The reason for this peculiar behavior is still shrouded in mystery, adding another layer to Brown's already complex story. This incident joined the ranks of his off-field troubles, including allegations of a fake vaccine card and unpaid debts. And let's not forget 2017 when he threw a tantrum during a game against the Baltimore Ravens after not getting a pass. But what this next player did was straight up terrible. Next is the time JuJu SmithSchuster gave Vontaze Burfict a terrible head injury. The stage was set during a heated 2017 Steelers vs. Bengals clash. SmithSchuster, unfortunately, delivered a brutal hit that left Burfict with a concussion. And as if that wasn't enough, he decided to add insult to injury by taunting Burfict while he was down on the turf. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin didn't mince words, expressing that JuJu's post-hit antics were even more disturbing than the hit itself. Ouch. In the aftermath, SmithSchuster faced the consequences, earning himself a suspension. The NFL explicitly pointed out his taunting as a contributing factor to the punishment. But there were even more instances of terrible sportsmanship in that game, like the time Ndamukong Suh stomped on an opposing player. Thanksgiving Day just wouldn't be Thanksgiving Day without a dash of bad sportsmanship, and Suh delivered exactly that. The incident unfolded during a 2011 Thanksgiving Day game against the Packers. After getting ejected, Suh denies stomping on Evan Dietrich Smith, claiming he was simply trying to remove himself from the situation. Yeah, right. A little hard to buy into that with Suh's history of on-field violations, isn't it? Now, we've got a moment that reminds us that the NFL isn't chill about breaking the rules at all. When the rivalry between Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman got pretty bad. Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. weren't really on each other's radar until December 20th, 2015. Before that fateful day, they were just 2 talented players on opposing teams. However, when the New York Giants faced off against the Carolina Panthers in Week 15, what started as an exciting matchup escalated into a full-on wrestling match. Not exactly what we're supposed to be doing on the field, right? The result? A serious case of big beef between them. Their feud didn't just play out on the field, it took center stage in front of a massive audience. Both players faced fines and suspensions, but the impact went beyond just losing money and time. The media played a significant role in cranking up the intensity of their rivalry. Now we have Josh Norman's bow and arrow incident in 2017. It was a game between the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Browns, and a celebration like no other. Referee Jeff Triplett wasn't a fan though. During a game-changing interception, Josh Norman mimicked shooting a bow and arrow, thinking it was harmless fun. Little did he know that this gesture would land him in a lot of trouble with an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Yep, turns out the NFL rulebook has a sub-article specifically dealing with excessive celebrations. And this fell right into that category. Now, that might not have been that bad, but Brian Robinson's low blow stands out as one of the most questionable on-field actions. Vikings defensive end Brian Robinson was facing off against Packers offensive lineman TJ Lang in 2011. What went down next was downright bizarre. Robinson decided to deliver a kick in a very sensitive spot that would make anyone cringe. The surprising part? Lang didn't retaliate with punches for that low blow. Robinson did offer an apology on Twitter, but let's be real, it's a little hard to believe he genuinely meant it. That's all for the most terrible moments of sportsmanship in the NFL. If you want to see more players who play dirty, make sure to click on this next video.